Welcome into this episode of Coach's Corner. Jordan Woodruff with you. This episode brought to you by the Oklahoma National Guard, and we're joined now by head coach Justin Roland. Coach, good to have you along, and as always, I enjoy doing these more after a win, but just wasn't in the cards last Fridays. You guys played a very talented Lawton Mac team.
Absolutely. Give all the credit to them. We kind of knew they were going to push us physically, and we had a chance, They're late in the first half. We kind of held it close, but it's pretty overwhelming. Good performance by them, though. Give them all the credit.
And you look at the two losses so far, both those games, you were right there in it, kind of at halftime, and then kind of at the end or in the second halves where those teams kind of pulled away based on the momentum they were able to capture. And it was... Is that something? How do you work on that? Is it just, hey guys, we got to go full game, or was it just difference in what their athletes and skill just come to the top? What made the difference there?
It was a little different this week, defensively, or last week defensively. We had a bunch of injuries there early in the first quarter, and so the way we give up those points late in the first half kind of would take that. That kid's a new corner, his first full varsity game playing, so that's understandable. But it's one of those things where, man, we got to get points on the board a little bit earlier, and I think that'll change the way the whole game plays. I think we played 80 or 52 snaps as a defense first half. That's never good, but just overall working on things, trying to get this thing to go 4 quarters.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. The defense, they've played pretty good. Even though you've seen those points, not perfect, don't get me wrong by giving up, but at the same time, they've played pretty good, but they're on the field a lot because the offense is just not able to get that ball moving. So, and it seems like we've seen this play out these years past as well, but things seem to get better. But there's still a lot of new guys out there offensively, and you're just now getting the offensive line and everything where you guys want it to be.
Absolutely. If you break it down, look at the film, our offensive line is getting closer and closer every game. Johnson's obviously getting more and more comfortable every game. Kind of figured out, hey, he can run the ball a little bit too, so that's good. But there are some things, I think, offensively, early downs, you got to get positive plays. Can't go back 5. Offense isn't really designed to pick up big second and longs and third and longs. So from that standpoint there, and then defensively, we let them off the hook a couple times as well. I think it was the first drive of the game, we get them in third, or the second drive of the game, we get them in third 12. Mm-hmm. Got to make the sack, get off the field, So there's a bunch of things that we're doing kind of as a young offense, and then as a defense that's playing some green kids that will get better and better as the year goes on.
Yeah, well, this week you got the defending state champs with Muskogee. Now, the interesting thing is the last couple of years, you didn't play them too bad when they ended your seasons in the playoffs. They went on last year to win that state championship. It's different this year. They can't end your season this year. Right. It's a district game, and that's actually how you're opening districts with the 3rd straight year taking a road trip down to Muskogee.
Yeah, I always look forward to playing the best teams. Personally, as a coach, as a competitor, you want to play the best teams you can. It's funny when we did the redistricting, Coach Hill was like, "Man, we don't want to have to play you if we don't have to." You know what I mean? Because like he said, you look at their playoff games after us. That's the toughest games they've had, in the last couple of years. So it's a place where we're familiar with, and just a place where you just got to go play. Go throw the chips on the table, see what happens.
Yeah, and one thing that sticks out with Muskogee is they've given up in their 3 games. They played some pretty good competition.
Absolutely.
Booker T early and a couple of Arkansas schools that are known to be pretty good. Their last game went down kind of the wire as well.
Yeah.
But they're a team that's only allowing 65 yards through 3 games on the ground, and you're a team that wants to run the ball. It looks like this is going to be a game you're going to have to find a way to throw it a little bit, though.
I think, no matter what, throughout the season, for us to get where we want to be, we're going to have to throw the ball around a little bit. And I think there's some things that we're doing at practice and got scheming up that'll help us there. But you're 100% right. But they're a little bit different inside than what they've been the last couple of years. And the Rogers team and the Bentonville team were very spread, pass heavy, so they didn't really try and run the football on them as much as we may Friday night. So it's kind of a balancing act. You know they're good at stopping the run, but the numbers are a little bit skewed.
All right, one thing you did last week, and there's no points to show for it, but still you saw some flashes of it. You're trying the option game a little bit with Johnston there at quarterback, two backs that both are capable of running the football. Did you like the way that looked after looking at film, or was that an experiment thing, or is that something you're going to stick with?
No, it's something that'll be a staple, I think, going forward. When you got kids that can legitimately take the edge, then you got to try and get them out there. And I think it makes it easier for an O-line to say, hey, we're not going to block a guy. This play, we're going to read him, we're going to pitch off of him, so it makes it easier for the guys up front. And then we got a kid at quarterback, smart, makes good decisions, and then you got two tailbacks, three really. I thought Goose ran the ball really well, but you got three running backs that can get out there and take it to the house, so you got to give it a shot.
Yeah, and Goose, as you mentioned, I thought he did run the ball really well, and he's your power guy, really. Yeah. He's a guy that can run between tackles, not afraid to get those shoulders burning, getting hits. I mean, I thought outside of Johnston running the football, he was your most effective guy last Friday.
There's no doubt, man. And Goose is he's low-built kid, really, really powerful in the legs. And, we've been telling him in practice, like, man, you can drag somebody a yard no matter what the situation is. They get you in the backfield. Got hit a couple times on the negative sideline scrimmage and drug him to positive yards. But he's been a kid that you could even see last year, like, okay, he's starting to understand the blocking scheme. He's starting to understand where to go and where not to go. So he was definitely a bright spot, him and Johnson running the football.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about Muskogee, but now let's hear what you think overall. So what do you see from the Ruffers team? And like I said, a team that Ponca's pretty familiar with the last few years.
Yeah, we got, one more year of Jamarion Ficklin, the quarterback. I think he committed to Texas State this year. And I mean, it's crazy. We won a game against him when he was a freshman. But very, very talented there at quarterback. Their offensive line is very big. They're a couple new guys, but they're a big old line. The running backs actually transfer from Bartlesville. They run a different style of running game, but he's still a really good back. And I think the best kid on their team is the little slot. He's number 11 now. He was 15 last year. His first name's Andre, but he's talented. But they got a lot of team speed offensively, and that'll be a challenge. But defensively, I think is where we've got to try and get some headway, because they graduated almost everybody on their defense. So that's where we'll hopefully look to attack them.
Well, and recipe, and most people would consider it an upset across the state, and not necessarily you guys. You always look at going out there and winning, but kind of looking at the recipe for that upset is you got to turn a team over.
Yeah,
and that's something I know defensively. You go into that camp, create turnovers. You guys want to create more turnovers.
Absolutely, and that's one thing Jamarion's done. This year in the Bentonville game, in the Rogers game. Threw a couple interceptions. They don't put the ball on the ground very much, but it's one of those deals where if the opportunity comes and help flip the field for the offense, we talked about that. It's hard going if your offense going 80 yards every drive. Let's try and get the ball back, give them good field position, flip the field, and let's go from there. But if we can get a couple turnovers, absolutely. I think it was 2 years ago, I think we forced 4 or 5 turnovers against them. It's freezing cold. I don't think they like the cold, but it kept us in the game.
Yeah, and you mentioned special teams, and I know you, going back to your K-State days, that was something they always prided themselves in. You talk about flipping the field.
Yep.
When it comes to special teams, there's been good. The kickoff coverage has been pretty good, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing when you talk about flipping the field is the punt team.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of a struggle. That's something you guys have to get cleaned up just to maybe give a little bit more time. And you want some kicks to be 35, 40 yards, flip that field a little bit. And that going back to even the Enid game, those short fields are giving those offenses a chance to really get going.
No, absolutely. If you look at the stats on who wins a game, if you give up a blocked punt or a block field goal, anything of that sort. It's tough, and it's one of the things where we just got to bear down and be cleaner. We worked it really hard Tuesday at practice, and made a couple switches, but it's more us than it is them.
Yeah, no, it is. Special teams, sometimes it's not about the big play, it's about not giving up the big play.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely correct. And you want to create them and you want to limit them if you're on a unit like that.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, anything else, Coach, before we let you go? Just a big one, and district start up. So, the official season, I know every game counts, those other three, but really this is the official season because this is what counts towards playoffs.
Absolutely. Big shout out to our junior highs. They played Bishop Kelly. We got a tough freshman team. The 7th, 8th, and 9th played Bishop Kelly. Freshmen came away with the win, and then they played Bartlesville last night, and they both got win. 7th and 8th got win. The freshmen got the night off, but kudos to those kids that are playing hard and just looking forward to getting into this district schedule.
All right, man. Well, appreciate the time as always.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Coach Justin Roland. I want to say thanks to Chris behind the camera today. And that's going to do it for this episode of Coach's Corner. It's been brought to you by Oklahoma National Guard. Jordan Woodruff saying until next time, go Cats.